Mindset Monday. I'm Shelley Butler, and you are the laughing Yves Doucet. Yes, we were talking about how large our faces are this morning,
Okay.
and I agreed.
Um,
And I agreed.
do you know what laughter is contagious?
Oh, laughter.
If you laugh long enough, it's going to change your mood. Did you know that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Have you ever seen a room full of people laughing and then
It's
try not to laugh?
to laugh, yeah.
Right?
It's impossible.
It's absolutely impossible. I love that. I love that. And laughter on a Monday morning is probably the best thing that you could do.
Okay, you're making me laugh. Stop it. What are you
Okay,
doing?
stop it. All right. Well, you're not going to be
I love
laughing.
that face, by the way.
What?
That face. That's I love
It's
that
my
face.
favorite face.
I love that face.
Yes. That's
Okay,
my
that's enough.
stern face. That's enough of
I
that.
can't. Mm. All
Ah,
right.
so we have to get on to
Serious.
stuff that's a little more serious.
Mm.
So we are going back in with Veronica this morning, the real Veronica, and we are going to talk about compensation. We're going to talk about a better way to communicate is really what these are all about. So these are real life stories, real life scenarios that happen, and we're having the real Veronica bring them to us, and then Eve and I are going to discuss how maybe we could handle that a little bit better, or maybe how you can handle that a little bit better. So Estelle, producer extraordinaire, is going to play for us this little tape from the real Veronica. Take it away, Estelle.
So I'm looking at your resume, Veronica, and I just wanted to follow up on something. It shows me here on your resume that you could speak Spanish. Yes, so I put that on there because I could speak Spanish depending on what you're offering. Are you able to give me some more information about your differentials for Spanish speakers? We offer $1 more per hour for Spanish speaking. And is that negotiable? It's not, it's really not negotiable. That's been the going rate for a while now. In that case, uno poquito yo explico español. I mean, I could probably approve up to 150. Un peso 50 centavos. Yo puedo hablar español un poquito más y un poquito más rápido. Oh, I see what's happening. So we really do need a Spanish speaker. I could probably get $2.50 approved by the board, but that's the highest that we're going to be able to go. Ah, pues chica, tranquila. Aquí voy a estar hablando español como si fuera el único idioma que sé. Sí, 2.50 la hora más. Está bien, vamos, dale. Dame firmar el contrato.
Vamos.
It's a
And that was a
vacuum.
little extra just for
Yeah.
you.
Estelle is doing the vacuum.
Stop vacuuming, Estelle.
Um,
Too
did you understand that?
funny.
I understood the first one in Spanish.
Yeah, I had no
You have to
idea.
speak really slow. And
I
then
had
the last one I didn't understand.
no idea. How does that make you feel? How did that whole conversation make you feel?
As an employee or as an employer?
Either. Tell me.
Um,
What do you relate to the most?
well, I think I'm funny, so negotiation is always difficult. And if
Yep.
you're the employee, I always find that if you're asking for something,
Mhm.
you're always like kind of on your heels asking for something. Especially, it's not as bad when you're actually like getting into the job market. I mean, you're applying for a job. In this case, that's what that is. But when you're already employed, it's hard to negotiate. So
Mm.
I found that she was making fun, a bit manipulative, I have to say.
A bit.
A bit. So as an employee, I don't know. I think I always had a hard time negotiating for myself.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Yep.
it takes a bit of courage to ask for sure, asking for
Does.
what you want out of life. So
It does. It's one of the main things that I ask. So when people come in, I always ask them what they'd like to make. Always. We always we publish what we are going to give as a salary, but I always ask them, what they would like. I have only ever had one person in all the years that I've been here, in 24 years, be able to tell me.
wow,
Yeah,
I
it's
I've just
difficult.
like I used to when I was back when I was younger. I used to do the interviews and at Dovico and Spilo and other places, and I always ask what you want, and we'd have a posted salaries, and then we kind of talk about it. And so, as an employer, if I'm the other side and somebody's manipulating me like that, I would have a sense of manipulation. But let me tell you this:
Oh, she would have never been hired. I would have
the
never
other,
hired her.
oh, Okay. Yeah,
Absolutely
because
not.
she's making it's supposed to be serious, and it should be serious when you're asking for it should it should like it should have a conversation like an adult. But this is the other thing that that sequence left me with as an employee. Oh, you lied to me twice already. Like in
Mm.
that sequence, the employer lied to me twice.
And in that sequence for me, the employee
Hmm.
tried to manipulate me
Right.
twice.
So it's not good. It's
It's
not a
not
good
good.
situation.
Communication breakdown
Right.
from the very beginning. So if you're expecting that employee to be to come on to be feeling trusted, feeling loved, feeling that there's a belonging for them, no. What in actuality happened is she tried to hold back $1.50 from her.
Yeah. So I always say to if I was going to as an employee, I would say I would have my walk away price. In other words, I'm not going to show up with part of me. I'm not going to show it half. Somebody asked me the other day, like, how do you balance your life and work? There's no
Mm,
balance. It's like you have one life. It's
yeah,
not work life balance. You can't show up. I'm going to show up as pieces of me. I don't do that. I go all in or I don't do it. Like, that's the way I do it.
yeah.
And so to me, is I have my walkaway price. In other words, this is what I'm going to do it for. And if you can't afford that, I understand, but this is my walkaway. I'm not going to do it.
And
So
I think that everybody needs to have that. See, the
yeah,
thing is we have a hard time understanding our worth. And it
it's
happens. I want people to come here. I want them to be very clear and understand what their worth is. Now, I can see if somebody's having a terrible time negotiating, if somebody's having a
mm,
right, and they're trying to be very, they want the job. They don't want to be really outward and say this is what I'm worth, and I get that, right? So that takes some work, but I
it
want
does.
people to have that growth mindset where they can say, today I'm not really able to tell you about this much, or this is what I need to live, whatever it is, but I want them to be very clear. To manipulate me into the extra money like that, I would have said thank you very much, Veronica, and have a nice day.
You're not a hamburger.
What?
You People aren't hamburgers. Like you don't you go to the restaurant and
Burger.
follow me. You're not
Okay.
you go to a restaurant, you say, I want a hamburger. Oh, would you like a cheese with that? Yes, that'll be more money. Or would you like pickles with that? That's more
Oh,
money.
do you
Would you
not
like fries with that? More money. We are not a hamburger.
hate that?
We are human beings.
Yes.
And as human beings, we're not I don't think we should negotiate pieces of us. We come in and we
Yeah,
negotiate. This is what we're worth. But it also means, like you're saying, that we have to understand what we're worth.
you
And that takes
do.
a lot of courage to do that.
It absolutely does. And like I say, it doesn't have to be perfect right off the bat. It can't
No.
be a manipulation like what
No.
Veronica just showed. I do not like that. But I want to be able to compensate you. I
Yes.
want you to come every day to work feeling you are being compensated well. Now, I'm going to tell you here at Dovico, we do compensate well. Yves Doucet he pays really good. So
Well,
you
we
do, you pay
yeah.
really well. Um,
I'd like to pay more, but
I know. And that is really what's cool about it. You always tell us, right? The more money we make here at Dovico, the more money we'll get. So it's not about you putting it in your pocket. As a matter of fact, I've seen you not put anything in your pocket so we can live.
sometimes I have to put money in. It's the other
And
way around.
absolute
But
right? So that's what we've all seen. We are very open and honest about that. And I think that's really very, very cool. This is all about how to communicate.
but
How you
so the first I just want to make sure
Yeah,
we
yeah.
don't leave the like
Nope,
we're gonna
nope.
go to Delvico in a second, but Dovico in a second. But I think as an employee, what would you suggest as an employee going into a new job or even in your job and you want to have or you believe you're worth more? How would you approach that? You've been an employee.
Absolutely. So I'm not really good at understanding or I wasn't very good at understanding my worth back in the day. So if I was treated well, if I loved my job,
Yeah.
I was all in kind of thing, and I would work with the owner, if you will, to make sure that I did feel that I was well compensated,
So
not through manipulation.
what would you do today?
Today, I would be very clear at my worth, right?
Let's say I fire you and you go look for a job. How would you approach that? Would you know your worth?
I absolutely know my worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely know my worth.
And
And
you'd
I
say,
would be able to go in and say that. Like you say, I'm going to come in and I'm going to give everything I have here. And if you aren't able to pay that, that's okay. That's okay. There's other places, right? We all have to know our worth. The thing is if you're coming in with a second language and that you need that job, um, uh, to be able to handle those two different languages, that's a skill set.
Yeah.
Having to, like we are here in the province of New Brunswick in Canada, and it is bilingual. You can get compensation for that second language. See,
You
the
just
thing
ask.
is you can pick up the phone and you can manage both the English speaking and the French speaking.
But that has value for the employer, right? So if the employer is wanting you to do that, then the compensation should be there. Yeah,
So the value should be there for the employee as
absolutely.
well.
Yeah,
That's what I think. So if somebody came to me, if my boss came to me
yeah,
and said, "Listen, try to get them in here for a buck, but uh, if you can't, like, pay them the 250 kind of
right,
thing, right?" So now the challenge is set. The boss has said to me, "Try to save yourself $1.50
right.
every hour." Now, I think
What
I
what
can tell you what I would do.
what I hate about that is like when the boss was saying or the employee or employer was saying, "Oh, I can't get that. Like I can't get that," and if that's the maximum I can do. The maximum I can get to the board. Like you said 3 times, automatically you're lying to me.
Absolutely. I
And
would
so
give everybody
I,
250. That's
as an employee, I'm done.
I would hope so.
I
I
am
would hope
I'm
so.
done right there. Like I'm saying,
But
you're already lying to me.
Veronica didn't get up and leave. But I'm going to
No,
tell you, if that ever happened to me and I was the manager hiring, I
yeah,
would give everybody 250. I would go as
you'd
high
have
as
to
I
though.
Huh?
You'd have to.
No, you challenged me. You said, "Shelley, you hire them if they are looking for extra payment for their second language, give them
Yeah.
a buck. I'll go as high as
Oh, if
250."
I said that, okay, got it.
Right? So
Yeah.
probably, right? Because she said, the board will pay as high as 250, right? In the end, kind of
So
thing.
I
So
think there's nothing wrong with negotiate. I think it's perfectly fine,
you
and
should be able to negotiate.
we should be able to go to our boss or should be able to interview and say, "This is what the market will bear. This is how we think." Now, do your homework, and if you don't have, this is the thing I would suggest to an employee going there. If you can't figure out what you're worth it, get a coach. Get somebody who will actually coach you through figure out what your worth is. And then you can go there and say, "This is I've done my work, I've looked at the market, this is what it's worth, this is what I can get for it." So know your worth. And so get somebody to help you out there, a friend or somebody that has experience, somebody that has experience in negotiating like employment contracts. I would say that. That's what I would think that you should do.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, as long as it's not a $15 an hour job, don't go spend like thousands of dollars on a coach
No, that's
for
different, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you're talking about skill set that yes,
This is an hourly
yes,
wage job.
yeah,
Bottom line, I don't care if you're a high school student or who you are. I think that you need to absolutely know your worth. And there's so many people that actually go to a job interview and they don't even know what that job does,
mhm.
right?
It
So
does, yeah.
take your time and do some research. Make sure that that company is going to treat you well. You can tell by the people that are doing the interview with you. There's a lot of great ways for you to communicate to find
There
out
is.
how great that position could be. So, one of the things that I always say to people, advice that I give to people is find out what the equanimity is in there, right? So how is the transparency within the company? Find out if they're constantly hiring and firing, right?
Mm.
What are the average years that most people are here at the company, right? That's an okay question to ask the employer, right? You can say, how long do most people stay here? Uh, Employers will not want to answer that question if they're constantly having to hire.
That's true.
You can also ask growth
No,
questions.
you can get this all online, right? Like there's lots of places you can get this information from people.
You can, but if you have somebody in front of you,
Mm.
what a great question,
It
right?
is. Yeah.
How long do people stay? Um, and there's a number of actually different questions that you can find out some really good information without getting too deep into it. but transparency and trust within an organization is huge. Who do you want to work for?
It's interesting because if you go there and you're prepared for your worth, you can go and say, well, the reason I think I'm worth more because if I speak Spanish, for example, I'm front facing, I'm facing the customer, well, I'm going to bring in more money. And I've had experience in the past doing that because this is what happened at my other job, right? So you can go and get prepared for what the benefit will be for the employer as
Yeah.
well. So get prepared. Get
Yeah.
prepared and know your worth. Like, go and figure out what you have contributed. And that's an interesting question. How people like that's right. You led me to that thought, you know, that consideration.
Oh,
So that if you ask interesting questions about like you ask deep questions like how long do people stay, and you know that you typically stay 5-10 years in a job, you can say this you're what you're getting from me is loyalty here, right? I'm here for the long run. So
yeah.
you can come in, and if you lead in with curiosity and an interesting question, it's going to open up possibilities for you to lean into your best assets and your way to
Yeah.
like contribute to the employer, right? So what employers are looking for is a solution. They're not looking for a problem. If you go in there and and this is what I think this is what she did there, Veronica. She became a problem,
Oh, immediate. Like I
right?
said, I would not hire her. The manipulation was too big. And the manipulation on the employer was really big as
Yes,
well. If
absolutely.
you're
Yes.
asking the right questions and that person that is sitting in front of you feels like you're intruding, like the questions are a little too much for them and they're not willing to give you the transparency, run. Don't walk away,
Run.
run. You want a company that is more than open. You want a company that understands that if you want to be part of that solution, like Eve was saying, then you have to have all the information.
Yeah, I so there was a time when, and the reason we're going to get to Dovico as well. So just for a second, right? How do we do this at Dovico? Well, there was a time at Dovico and at Spila when I was there that people were always lined up and asking me for raises all the time. And it was like, oh, okay, I'm doing this. I get this skill set and I get this skill set. So what we decided to do at Dovico is a couple of things. One, we very much support getting additional skills. We support it financially. We support it with time. We support it with encouragement, and we allow people to not all. We embrace people when they want to learn new skills. And
We pay for it.
we pay for it. There's not a Devaconian who doesn't actually get more skills, right? And on top of that, what we wanted to do is create an equanimity, a balance.
Yeah.
So what we did was say, well, we're going to pay you as much as we can,
Yeah.
right? So that you can earn a living and we're competitive in the marketplace. And then the top up for everything we do, we're going to share our profits. So we're in it together. So we're very transparent about what we do here as far as salary, and that stops people from coming and negotiating all the time. Now, that means though that we have to have a conversation about it and how do we pay and how do we compensate people, and they also have to be you have to be transparent about where you're getting paid and how you get compensated. And so if we're in it together and you share in the growth, then there's a possibility that you get like from an employer point of view, you won't get these discussions every single 2 months or 3 months
Yeah.
because you're basically saying, okay, if 3 people or 4 people are coming, and I remember when the economy kind of hit, we had a lot of people questioning, can we get a raise? We had those. Like that was a long time. We had that.
Yeah, the inflation, the
So
rate of, yeah, the cost of living, right? It
and
was
it
a
was
big,
true. People were having a hard time making ends meet. So we have
sure.
to say, listen, we're going to tighten the belt and we're going to have to like give more compensation for people.
Yeah.
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 So I think you have to be transparent as an employer, right? And
And as an
as an
employee,
employee as well.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's
Yes.
it's not
Yes.
one-sided here,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
as soon as you give the upper hand to the employer, you're giving yourself away,
So
right?
true, Shelley.
Never ever do that.
Yes.
Communication, compensation, fairness happens from
Like if
both
you,
parties making sure that they are not manipulating,
mm,
that they are not judging, that they are not blaming and shaming people into this role of employer employee. I'm better than you because I'm the employer. I got the upper hand because I'm the employer. That needs to stop.
Like
We are humans.
if as an employee you're having difficulty and you can't go to your employer and say, hey, like life happened to me, something happened to my life,
Yeah.
something disaster, something happened to my life,
Yeah.
and I'm having trouble here. Can you help me out? You have to be able to have that conversation
Have to.
because if you don't, then you haven't built the trust in your organization. If you wait until it blows up, because that's what the mind does. We keep going and ruminating and ruminating, and then you bring that to work. You're not being efficient in your job. You have to be able to express that need in a safe environment.
Yeah.
That's what you want to create as an
Yeah.
employer. And that's what we've done at Dovico. I think generally speaking, it's a fairly safe place. It's not perfect by any means, and it's a work in progress, but I think we've established a place where people can actually ask us because they're having trouble, or can they come to us and say, hey, we're having trouble. Or we'll notice it and we'll have a conversation with them and say, okay,
Yeah.
you've been absent here. You've been not in a good
Yeah.
mood lately. Not like
Yeah. Your
not
camera's
not
night
good mood,
on.
but hey, are you okay?
Are
That
you
kind,
okay?
not that
Yeah.
don't do
How
that.
can I help?
How can I help? How can I be of
Right?
service? What
That,
can we do?
yeah, that's
And how
exactly.
many times have we done that? Like help people out because something was happening to their family and they
Yeah.
needed extra
Yeah.
help in finding a solution for health issues or for whatever issue it was. And as an employer, you have to come to the bat and say, okay, these are special circumstances.
Yeah.
It's more than just salary.
It is absolutely more than just salary. Be the people, be the person you want to be. Make sure that you understand who you are and your value, and you will always be compensated fairly. Speak your truth because you can communicate just like anybody else. Do not let the employer have the upper hand. There's no need of it. I just want to say hi to Stephen Allen. Hi,
Hi,
Stephen.
Steve.
And Leslie Ann is here
Jan
too.
and Trent.
Jan and
Trent,
Trent. Yes.
welcome.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Thank you guys for being here. It's really important when we're online here. We love to see others. Okay. We are going to switch gears here real quick.
Okay,
We are going to talk about an event
I'm waiting for you.
that is coming up called Beyond
Oh,
Doubts.
very good.
You're welcome. January 1st. Yeah. Or sorry, January 11th.
11th.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So my favorite numbers 1111, 111, and this is what this is the reason why this is set on this particular day. So this is Eve's event. And I am so excited. I bought the first ticket. So I am so excited to be part of this.
You did buy the first ticket.
I did.
Yeah.
I
I was
did.
proud of it. I was very happy you did.
I am just absolutely honored to be part of this. This is going to be a very small group of people.
Hmm.
This is going to be something that is going to help you with 2025 and the
Yeah.
rest of your life. So tell us a little synopsis without giving too much away.
Well, first of all, there's going to be a lot of content, so I can't in 5 minutes. Beyond Doubts is, let me just tell you why I'm kind of qualified to talk about that, Beyond Doubts. First of all, I have like over 1,600 hours of training with Baptiste Yoga. I have like 1,200 hours of teaching, which helped me focus my mind and on my future and like focus my mind on creating a life that I want, which is really helpful. I don't know how many hours with Robin Sharma. I can't even talk about like that. I've read over 1,000 books on self-help and meditation and yoga. And then lastly, I spent 100 hours with Joe Dispenza recently, and which really affected my life in a very deep and meaningful way. So Beyond Doubts is kind of um, uh, a way to live your life without suffering, without fear, without any doubts in your mind. And if you think about it for a second, it's when you wake up in the morning, you start to have thoughts about something, your to-do list, or the person did this to you, or that person did that to you, and you start kind of like like forging ahead in your future of how you're going to deal with this issue. So what I'm talking about is getting out of that mindset and into the mindset of surrendering to the world and
Mm,
having no doubts about your capability to survive, and not only survive but foster and grow and
mm.
create. When you're in that mindset, you start moving forward. You stop thinking about thinking, and you start seeing your thoughts, and you can actually envision and embody the future that you're going to have. And the first time I felt this, I kind of experienced this in my body was in front of that judge when he told me, asked me, Mr. Doucet, are you done? The court is tired with you. And I had this feeling inside of me. I said, yes, Your Honor. I learned everything I needed to learn. And we had so many talks, me and the judge, after that, like over a coffee, about this feeling. I had absolutely no doubts. I was beyond doubts. I was so sure of everything, but yet I didn't have a plan. I didn't know where the future was going to lead me, but I was so curious. So that led me to do things that I've never done before, like things like becoming a yoga teacher, teaching 1,000 classes, um, 66 days, writing 2 books. That's just a few things. So many things because I'm beyond doubts. There's no attachment, there's no reaction, there's no self. Now that doesn't mean every single day that I don't have feelings, that I don't get hurt, that I don't get in reaction or attachment. That's what I mean. I mean, like I do have those things. It just doesn't linger very long. Whereas used to be the first time I had a big reaction when was I got fired, and then that lasted for 9 years, and another 8 years after that when I was done with court. Now it lasts for maybe a day, sometimes a minute, and I'm go back to beyond doubts, and it enables me to be the creative self that I want, to create the life that I want. So this is the event on January 11th, and I picked January 11th because of the 111. Now you can say that has no meaning, or maybe it does for you. It doesn't really matter. It was an interesting date for me. Um, and if you're tired of like I've read, like I'm done with reading books. I'm done with motivate. I am not a
Reading
motivator. Do
books.
not come there to get motivated. This is not for you. If you want to be motivated, this is not for you. If you want to be transformed, this
Mm,
is for you.
mm,
I'm not a motivational speaker. I am not going to be bouncing around and yelling at you and telling you everything I've done. I'm not going to do that.
mm.
What I'm going to do with you, because I'm going to transform with you, I'm going to take you on a journey and we're going to practice this art of transformation, transforming your mind and transforming your body and transforming your life. I'm going to leave you with tools, practices, and you're going to embody this feeling of having no doubts. And then you'll say, oh, that's what I want. Because if you have no doubts about the future, you have no suffering. If you have no suffering, well, you are actually happy.
Yeah,
Right? And if you're
absolutely.
happy, you can show up to work, you can show up with your family, as happy, as
Yep,
pure happiness, right?
yep.
And you get spontaneous, and it doesn't matter where you are. You can be happy anywhere. Did you know that? You can be happy anywhere?
Yeah,
Did you know
yeah,
you can be happy with anything,
yeah.
right? All you
Absolutely.
need to do is to
I have been
figure it out.
transformed. Yves Doucet has absolutely transformed me. I came to him as a broken girl. That's what I used to call myself, broken. I get emotional when I
Mm,
say the words now because it used to be my identifier. And now I am on fire. I am on top of the world because this man has been able to show me my worth. And I have been able to carry that along with me for the rest of my life, and I know that it will continue. Growth is not linear, growth is always meant to be projected, right? And you want to make sure that you are there January 11th. You want to go beyond your doubts. You want to make sure that you don't have that. Self-suffering is all too rampant today. Let it go. The Christmas gift for you
mm.
this year at $111. Wonder why it's $111.
Just like those numbers.
Yeah, amazing. Is so worth it. $111. And Black Rabbit is
Mm-hmm.
catering. You can also add that onto your ticket. I know I'm going to have that for lunch that day. So January 11th, Dion has put it into the comments.
Thank you, Dion.
Thank you, Dion, on our live here. Make sure that you get your ticket. There are only a few left, unfortunately. It is a small group, so we can be transformed together and be in a space that we can not only look at each other, but we can be in touch with one another. So
Yeah.
it is a beautiful space at the Valley Studio. So I am so excited to have and go to this event. So please, please make sure that you get yourself a Christmas gift this year. This has been Mindset Monday. Thank you, Eve.
Thank you, Shelley.
Love you. Get your workout in. And how are you